Awesome. Okay, so yeah, welcome to again the King's Fitness and Speed School nutrition seminar. So basically, what we want to go through today is how you guys can be successful. What should your focus be on? Most people focus on everything as black and white or good or bad, and I kind of want to break that mindset a little bit. Um, some basic some basic education, some basic understanding about food in general and nutritional breakdown, and then kind of fine tuning things and personalization for your own sort of preferences along this sort of journey and challenge. So I just found this funny. So also, you're trying the latest diet fad. How did that work out for the last time? So it's just kind of amusing, but it's so true because we're so hyped up into a lot of these so quote unquote diets that kind of roll around. But we really need to focus on kind of habits and a lifestyle and something that kind of works for each of us individually. So this is sort of how I like to look at overall nutrition, kind of coin it as a nutritional pyramid, but focusing on the most important things first. So that's kind of behavior and lifestyle, going into calories and energy balance, and then as we work our way up the sort of the pyramid, they become least and least important. There's still a place for them, but we should be really focusing on the base. So we can't eat just purely clean foods and ignore total calories. And we can't also supplement our way out of a bad diet, right? So yeah, so these are the things that I'd like everyone to kind of focus on in this group, and that's kind of what we want to kind of teach here. So before the pyramid even begins, it's kind of our own understanding our own behavior and lifestyle, right? So sustainability is king, and adhering to a plan is going to make you successful. There is no optimal diet, but it's what you can stick with over the long run. So no matter how good a diet is, if you can't stick with it, it's not very good. So expectations versus reality. Obviously, we expect us, whenever we follow something, just to be a straight line down, right? Like every day, it's linear progress. There's going to be a decrease in weight daily. And obviously that's perfection to a diet, but we're humans, we're not robots, right? So expectation, reality is, every day is going to be fluctuating and different, right? Your food choices are gonna be different, but if we look at this from the start to the end, we want to be further ahead than when we started, right? And if we can kind of build that momentum going, then we should be successful in the long run. um the mindset around good versus bad foods, right? Like if you're only eating good foods and you remove all bad foods, what happens when there's only bad foods presented to you? Are you just going to, you know, stress over the whole situation? Or if you understand what's truly in those foods, maybe you can kind of fit them into your overall lifestyle as well, and not feel like that sort of robot. But in the long run, we need to create good habits, right? So eating good food most of the time, practicing good sleep hygiene, exercising, moving, drinking water, and all of those things, right? But if we can kind of take care of a lot of these things, then everything else will start to fall into place. Awesome. Okay, so the bottom of the pyramid, obviously energy balance, right? So calories in versus calories out. It is a math equation in the long run, right? So we want to, if we are looking at losing body fat or body weight, we want to burn more energies than we consume, right? So we want to first of all put our calories in a place that will help us reach those goals. Now, on the other hand, if someone's trying to gain weight, we would like to consume more calories than we burn, right? So that's kind of where the scale will go onto the other side. Most of us define weight and fat interchangeably, but they aren't, right? We are looking for generally improved body composition and losing body fat specifically, right? And there's ways that we can do that, because if we just focus on weight, that's not always the right sort of mindset and mentality behind it, because muscle is weight and things like that. So we don't want to just lose weight, we would like to lose body fat. Obviously, to lose body fat, we need to be in a caloric deficit, so that's our biggest priority. But then burning calories, it's not just movement and exercise, right? Like consuming certain types of food is more metabolic than other types of food. So, making sure we're eating the right amounts of protein and fiber and fruits and vegetables, which the body's going to actually burn more calories in just to consume, right? And then obviously we have our base metabolism, which you can't change too much, but that's a big piece of the puzzle as well. Awesome. Okay, so going up one next level, once we've got our calories in place, we have our macronutrients. So these are energy containing foods. So the one that I like to focus on most importantly is our protein, because this is kind of the building blocks for muscle recovery and growth. They also help prevent muscle breakdown. It's also the most satiating macronutrient. So if we can base a meal around a protein, then you're actually going to be fuller for longer, right? So not only in that meal, but also between meals, which is very good for obviously combating hunger in the long run and over the course of the day. And then we have our carbohydrates and our fats. These are going to be your fuel for the body and the energy. The carbohydrates are non-essential. They're usually used for short-term energy, but very important when you're exercising and also creating a balanced diet. And then fats, they are essential. They're used for all-around health and vitamin absorption, and hormone regulation as well. So, but there's a lot of diets that are very low carb and higher fat, as well as low fat and very high carb. So, there is a preference thing. Once we figured out our calories, we can kind of do the breakdown into the rest of the macronutrients, and we can kind of depending on preference, we can kind of dictate which energy consuming macronutrients we want to kind of prioritize, right? So ultimately, what can you stick to while eating? Awesome. Also, there is a lot of lap over between proteins and carbs, as well as proteins and fats. So that's also something just to kind of be mindful of. All right, so we covered the base of the pyramid, and again, these are the big important drivers of our goals. But we're going to be working our way up now to level 3, 4, and 5. Awesome. So micronutrients. If we think of macronutrition as the fuel that we put in our car, then micronutrition would be sort of the oil that lubes the engine and keeps it running healthily. So micronutrients, they support basic health. There are a lot of micronutrients in there. So, and we want them to come from food primarily. So it is eating a wide variety of diets. Eating different colors of foods, which all contain different, again, micronutrition. Again, if we're eating whole nutrient dense foods, then it's going to get a lot more fiber in there as well. And there's obviously, when we have a healthy system, we're not craving sort of these sugar containing and processed foods and such like that. So ultimately we have to remove the processed foods, which are very low in micronutrients, replace them with whole nutrient foods, and it actually makes you crave more good food because you start feeling better, you're less tired, you have more energy, and it's kind of creating this positive cycle. And then the last thing is obviously water. Hydration is key. All cells need water to survive and thrive. Very base minimum is around 2 liters a day, and that's on top of anything else you consume. So if you do consume some coffee and tea or and things like that, then make sure you're drinking at least 2 liters of water. And just a pro tip: if you do start off a meal with 2 cups of water, you're also going to feel fuller, and you're less likely to overeat on your diet plan. Awesome. Okay, so the last sort of 5 to 10% here now is sort of your meal timing, and how are you distributing your meals throughout the day. So, intermittent fasting to 3 big meals a day versus 6 meals a day. And a lot of research has been done on this, and it does very much show that total calories is the most important thing. So whether you have 3 meals at X amount of calories or 6 meals of half the amount of calories. Now, each of you will interpret that differently. Some people may feel too full on 3 meals a day, and may want to break that down into smaller meals, or maybe add in some snacks, which is generally what I kind of recommend. We want to make sure they're balanced meals, so obviously some proteins, some healthy carbs and fats. And then the one thing I really like to stress the importance of is eating at least 25 to 40 grams of protein at 3 meals a day. So a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner is good, and it's good to start off your meals with protein, and then fill in the gaps with, again, like with snacks, or some calories that will just kind of tide you over till the next meal, and obviously healthy snacks, some fruits, vegetables, nuts, and things like that. Obviously being flexible around your meals as well. Like if we are strictly on a rigid meal plan, which can be good to start off and learn some habits, which we do like to teach. But what happens if your day is just, it goes sideways and you have 4 back-to-back meetings and you can't eat for 6 hours, right? Like what do you then do? So is it moving some meals around? Is it adding some extra calories into another meal? But again, focusing on that most important piece, which is, again, overall calorie consumption. Workout meals. Sorry, clicking. What should we eat around our workouts, right? So something light and digestible. If you train early in the mornings, maybe it's something quick digesting, because you're not very hungry at that time. But if you're training in the middle of the day, making sure you're having some form of quick digesting food around 30 to 60 minutes prior, and maybe having a protein source post workout seems to be beneficial as well. Again, keeping it simple. What can you do consistently over time? All right, getting up to the final piece here, supplementation. This is the part where we don't want to put the cart before the horse, right? Focusing on all these special, say, supplements, when we're not even considering the rest of it. So, but supplementation is there to support overall health and well-being. It's to add in the nutrients that can't be obtained through your diet. Specifically, if you choose not to eat certain food groups, maybe it's a vegan or vegetarian, maybe they should supplement with some iron, some B vitamins, and calcium. In general, though, I recommend most people take multivitamins, a general one a day, vitamin D in Canada, and then some omega-3s if we don't consume fatty fish at least twice a week. On the training side, just to support performance, creatine at a low dose of 3 to 5 grams a day is beneficial for performance, as well as sometimes maybe a little bit of an energy kick via caffeine has shown some positive effects as well, assuming it doesn't affect your sleep, anxiety, and some other things along those lines. Okay, so there are our bigger picture sort of thought process. And then lastly, specific supplements that maybe a doctor recommends, for, again, health and longevity and recovery. So awesome, almost there. So the last thing is, how do we put all this together? So obviously everyone did receive a meal plan, and these were based on, again, those big important principles. So we're putting in the calories based on your energy outputs, age, sex, gender, and all these things. You'll notice that it is very balanced, right? To a point, there's some preferences in there as well. Do you want to eat 3 meals a day or 5 meals a day? But I'd like to have this mindset about flexibility and the ability to be able to live up to day-to-day challenges, whether you have a family, a stressful life in work, or whatever, is to be able to still conquer the big goals of the day. And again, I like the flexible approach. So, there was seven totally different days, right? And each of them were going to have similar sort of calories around the breakfast, lunches, and dinners. And maybe preferences you don't like, or the inconvenience of certain meals may not work out for you, right? So what I'd like you to do is go through the week and pick your 2 to 4 favorite main meals and snacks, and then build your own sort of diet plan, right? Throughout the week. And if you can meal prep and cook some things in bulk, it will obviously save you time in the long run. And if you can put together 3 to 4 days of eating, where it's there and it's convenient and it's done for you, then it's going to start this snowball building momentum. So in summary, let's have a balanced diet. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so there is no perfect plan. The optimal one is what you can do consistently. Um, Obviously focusing on the bottom of the pyramid and getting those things correct. Okay, so if you can even just stick with the plan that we're suggesting, you're going to get results at the end of this sort of 12-week challenge. Again, the ability to be able to be resilient and flexible. And not planning is planning to fail, right? So again, the more you can plan your week in advance or your day in advance, preparing your meals and having them ready to go, the more successful you guys are going to be. So awesome. Okay. What was the time? Perfect. 15 minutes.